I still remember the early days when the war began. The sky over Troy was still clear, with no sign of the storm that was about to arrive. As a commoner living on the outskirts of Troy, I once thought that the city's massive walls would protect us forever. But I was wrong. The day the war began. It all started with a rumor that spread like wildfire. Prince Paris of Troy had taken Helen, the wife of King Menelaus of Sparta, to our city. At first, the people of Troy saw it as a triumph of love and boldness. But soon after, we heard that the Greek army had gathered under the banner of King Agamemnon, Menelaus's brother. They wanted to reclaim Helen and were willing to go to war to get justice. The sight of the Greek army approaching. I stood on a small hill outside the city when I first saw the Greek fleet. The white sails filled the horizon, with hundreds of warships, large and small, drifting to the shore. As they docked, the shouts of the soldiers echoed, mixing with the sound of the waves, sending a chill down my spine. They brought not only weapons but also hatred and the determination to destroy Troy. The early days of the war. The Greeks set up camp right by the shore, where they could easily supply themselves from their ships. They quickly launched attacks on the city of Troy. But our walls, built by the gods Poseidon and Apollo, were too strong. They could not break through. Inside the city, King Priam and his sons, Hector and Paris, along with our leaders, kept rallying the people. Hector, the eldest son and the greatest warrior of Troy, became our greatest hope. He led the army in defending the city with a calm and unwavering resolve. The bloody battles, I still remember the battle between Hector and Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior. The two stood facing each other on the plain before the city gates. Hector knew he could not avoid this fight. He stood tall, his golden armor shining in the sunlight, holding his spear firmly. The battle was fierce. Achilles moved like a panther, while Hector was as strong as a lion, never backing down. But in the end, Achilles emerged victorious. The sight of Hector falling, blood soaking the field, was a pain I will never forget for the people of Troy. The fateful wooden horse. After years of war without a clear victory, the Greeks changed their strategy. One day I saw them bring a giant wooden horse to the city gates and pretend to retreat. The entire city of Troy was filled with joy, thinking the war was finally over. Despite warnings from Laocoon and the prophetess Cassandra, the people of Troy pulled the horse into the city as a trophy. They did not know that inside it, Greek soldiers were hiding. The fateful night. That night, while the entire city celebrated with wine and songs, I heard strange footsteps. From my small window, I saw Greek soldiers emerging from the horse, opening the city gates for their comrades. Fire spread everywhere, and the screams tore through the night. I ran into the streets, trying to find shelter, but the sight before me was horrific. The people I knew had been killed or captured. Houses were burned to the ground. I could only hold my family tight, hide in a dark corner, and pray. The fall of Troy. By dawn, the city of Troy was no more. The walls were torn down, the palace burned to the ground. Those of us who survived were either enslaved or wandered in despair. I lost everything, my family, my home, and the belief that we were invincible. But the story of Hector, of the courage of those who fought for Troy, will forever live in my heart. Now, as I sit and recount this story, I realize that war never brings true victory. It only leaves scars that can never heal. And Troy, the city of legends, will always be a painful lesson for humanity.